I started farming back in 1975, 77. My wife and I purchased 270 acres. That was the same year that Pioneer began building the seed corn plant at Constantine, and I was able to get a contract with Pioneer, and I've been growing Pioneer seed ever since. So we transitioned from, at that period, pretty conventional tillage, the moldboard plow, did a lot of weed and feed. I guess one of the first big changes I made was going away from the weed and feed. When I realized that some of the neighbors, I'd seen putting on 90 to 100 pounds of N, and before the corn was knee-high, it was showing nitrogen deficiency. Of course, in that area we have very sandy soils, organic matter, some under 1%, most under 1.5%. And so we did, one of the things that right at that period of time, about, I guess, initiated early 70s, by 75, 77, a lot of the area was being irrigated. We have a rather shallow water table, so, and a very good aquifer. So it was, irrigation became the standard. After a few years of conventional tillage, we realized that, we were having problems with erosion. It was terrible, both wind and water. We went to doing some mulch tilling and did that for many years. But we also started incorporating cover crops, primarily using rye as a cover crop, and then incorporating that in the spring. And so we've been doing some cover crops for years. Then in early 1990s, I began working with Dale Much from Kellogg Biological Station, and he kept goading me to try all these other cover crops. And so it was a good situation for me. It exposed me to a lot of different covers, but we were still pretty much conventional tillage, using mulch till, and I was really wanting to, several times did a little played around with no-till, just could never seem to quite get probably didn't get started right, but things didn't quite work out usually, and so I kept feeling that, well, if I could, maybe get some of the benefits of no-till, if I could go to strip till. And so when RTK was readily available back in 2005, I believe it was, we started strip tilling. Did a couple years of fall strip till, but then I felt like I lost my window for cover crops, and so we switched then. In a couple years later, went to another strip till rig with so we could apply our potash in the strips, feeling that we could get some nutrient efficiencies by closer placement, and so that, again, by going to that, because of with the sandy soils, we do not want to apply the potash in the spring or in the fall. Do it in the spring. So I went to stripping in the spring right ahead of the planter, and so then if I was that would basically open it up so I could go back to my cover crop. what we've been doing for the most part is following our soybeans with a grass, usually wheat or rye. We prefer rye, a cereal rye, but the price has been pretty high on rye, so I've opted for using wheat as an alternative. Come into the wheat then with or burn off the wheat or rye, cereal rye, while it's fairly in the vegetative stage, and then strip and plant our seed corn. In the seed corn, we're going into the seed corn. We generally are flying on annual ryegrass with either crimson clover, or this year we actually mixed in rape instead of the crimson clover, and it seems like every year we try something different, and so it's not like we've got it all figured out. We keep tweaking the system. We also plant wheat as to try to get more diversity in our cropping. And after the wheat, in the last several years we've been able to plant a portion of the wheat to double crop soybeans, but we're far enough north that if it doesn't get done by my goal is by the 10th of July. This last year we did it on the 11th, and we still got 32 bushel of soybeans. But part of the wheat we've also come back double cropped with snap beans, and those of course have to go in before the end of July. Doesn't require quite as long a growing season. But usually we have some wheat ground that we don't plant anything else. So this is what we've done with some of them. We've planted radishes on 30-inch rows, and then split the middles with the RTK. We can split the middle and plant Austrian winter peas. We found that in our area, if you do that about the middle of August, it's not too late for the radishes, and it's not too early for the peas. If you go too early with the peas, they would get so mature in the fall that you wouldn't get any spring growth. So that's been this particular field. One of the things with seed corn, it often makes it very difficult to determine whether what you've done has had good results or not. This particular field, we noticed that there was a huge difference in what was to the right of the pivot and what was to the left of the seed corn the next year. And we couldn't figure out initially what it was, but we at harvest we actually rode with the harvester, and they have scales on the dump carts so they could tell us what the yield was, and we pulled a sample on both parts of the field, and this side yielded about 30 bushel to the acre more than the other side. And we've then started piecing together what happened, and it appears that this was like the first or second year, I think it's the second year that Pioneer began spraying defull calcium, what is it, calcium chloride, I guess it is. They spray that when the corns are roughly in the 55 to 60% moisture, and if it's done properly, it causes the plants to kind of die prematurely but slowly. Well, as near as we can figure, the applicator had not properly mixed the stuff and had virtually killed the stuff on the left overnight, and consequently it was like you had a frost in the middle of August. So the field as a whole did not yield up to par, but it was because of the application of that. So it's just one of those complications that we've found dealing with the seed production. Okay, I guess I told you the seed corn. We've been doing the ryegrass, and then planting the soybeans in the ryegrass. I guess from what I've been hearing, I really be excited about trying something and going into, completely go no-till and try to push some of these ideas. One of the things that we've done here, a little this past year, a little variation on this is we've used a twin row planter and planted the radishes and the peas only about 8 inches offset, with the idea that perhaps we'll be able to capture more of the nitrogen from the peas. Just another way to tweak the system.